Good morning and welcome to PFY Live. For those of you who have been joining us for the last few months, you know that we moved to kind of a new format and we are interviewing some of our favorite people in ministry. And I'm just blessed to be with you today on Wednesday to share and introduce you to, some of you may or may not know, Mark Joseph from Franciscan University. He's the VP of Outreach and Evangelization. And we're going to be just having a conversation today about what's been going on at Franciscan University and all of the summer conferences. And we'll also talk about what other opportunities there are for you to engage with the university. And then also some leadership, some tips and talks of talking about leadership during this time of crisis, which I always love talking about leadership. So Mark and I really, I think, have a kindred spirit in that way. I know, Mark, you have had great many years of serving in a leadership role and starting your own business. And so I know leadership is important to you as well. And I also want to say that Mark's an author. So he has his own book that he's written, and he can share a little bit about that. And his own ministry, Mark Joseph Ministries, where Mark, you just want to give us a little shout out for what you're doing on that side of your life in your own personal ministry.
Yeah, my thesis is really that in understanding and internalizing God's unconditional love, the unimaginable is achievable, and there's a lot more to that. It's in my book. It's on my website. I blog weekly. I do a Wednesday blog. I do a vlog, a video blog on Fridays. And there's a lot of free content and good stuff. So I just think that, understanding and internalizing the love of Christ changes your life. It changed mine. And I want to share that message with as many people as possible.
That's great. I know I've read your book, so thank you for that. It's been an inspiration to me as well. So
Great.
we've been working together since you started at Franciscan University in that role. That's been about
7 years. Yeah. 2012. Yeah.
7 years. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like a blink of an eye. I mean, a lot of growth has happened during the time that you've taken over the reins there. And it's been exciting to be one of the regional partners with Franciscan University to host the summer Steubenville conferences. And gosh, what a summer we're going to be having, right? Who would have expected the pandemic and the impact that it's had on the summer conferences? Can you speak a little bit about that in relationship to conferences on the campus there, but then even beyond?
Well, we have 30 conferences that take place in the months of June and July. We serve almost 60,000 people. Partnership for Youth is a big part of that and has been for a significant period of time. And, as the clock was ticking, as the calendar was moving, we knew we needed to make decisions. And as you well know, Amy, with all that our office has to accomplish, those decisions need to be made far in advance of the actual conference date. Right. So we decided to cancel our June conferences in April, and then it was early May when we decided we had to cancel the July conferences. And then, not much to our surprise, most of our partners across the country, across North America, we have 2 conferences in Canada, had to cancel as well. We have one conference partner in Florida who couldn't get out of their contract, which ends up being a blessing in disguise. As you know, Amy, we've been wrestling with this idea of doing virtual conferences or live streaming for years, and have never pulled the trigger. Well, in crisis comes opportunity, and we decided to pull the trigger. So this year we have 2 virtual conferences. The one is for youth, which is Steubenville Live. And we were blessed by actually doing that from Florida. So Steubenville, Florida will be the host site. Our ministry team is second to none. I pulled up on my website here. We have Brian Kissinger as the host. We're bringing in Chris Padgett. Crazy Chris is our virtual host. It's going to be a blast to be with Chris.
Absolutely.
Father Mike Schmitz, who we all know is our superstar priest, so he's going to be down there. Josh Blakesley is doing worship. Mary Bielski is going to be there. Oscar Rivera, and then Michael Gormley, who goes by Gomer. So it is going to be an unbelievable lineup. And the difference between what we're doing in Florida, live streaming, versus what much of our Catholic world is accustomed to these days, which is really a Zoom format, a format not much unlike this, right? Where Catholic conferences have been a speaker pre-recording something, delivering a message. It's like they're in your living room. And it's all good stuff. It's all good content. I'm not being disparaging towards anybody. But we're doing an actual live conference that is going to be incredibly interactive. We're inviting, to the extent that it's possible, youth ministers and group leaders to have their groups, their teens at the parish, watching it together. And through our platform, which we decided to go with Vimeo, through the app that we use, My Parish, and then social media, it is going to be incredibly interactive. We're going to have a game. Chris Pageant is going to be up to all kinds of shenanigans. That ought to be a lot of fun. And we're just really looking forward to this opportunity of bringing it virtually. Then the second conference, I'm sorry, Amy, were you going to ask a question?
No, I love that. I think that this is a great opportunity for families too to get involved, Mark. You know what I mean? I know we have a family package available, but you know what? That parents who maybe never come as chaperones to the conference because of a variety of reasons, right? They're going to have the opportunity, if they so desire, to be sitting in their living room and hearing those talks with their teenagers and being able to have dialogue and conversation about that. So I'm excited for that additional piece that we haven't been able or don't offer at our live conferences. And so that I'm really excited about, and just the enthusiasm I'm hearing on the phone for youth ministers related to gathering their kids at their parish, or if they're not able to gather at the parish yet, to be gathering in their homes in smaller groups, and really being intentional about what are the ways they can, add mass to it or reconciliation to the schedule in their parish and Eucharistic adoration. And so they're thinking outside the box and really trying to make this different, as we are and you are trying to make this very different than a lot of the virtual things we've been experiencing over the last 3 months. So I'm super excited about this opportunity. And like you said, that, God gave it to us, and we just had to pivot and look for ways to continue to, bring this experience to, right to them at their parish. I think, though, with the caveat that we know that doesn't exchange the in-person experience that you receive at a conference, right? And so I think that as we continue to share this and, just see thousands of people coming virtually to watch the conference and to be part of that, I think it's just going to be phenomenal and just so grace-filled.
Yeah, and I can't tell. I mean, it's certainly not going to be the same thing, but it is going to be as close as we can possibly make it. I can tell you, that being the person responsible for our budget, we're blowing the budget. Like, we are sparing no expense to put on one heck of a show. So I think it's going to be really incredible, and I think it's going to be something that we can be looking towards in the future, even when we bring our conferences back in 2021 and beyond. So,
yeah.
Speaking on two other things. One is, you've been doing this longer than me, although I am older than you. But as well as I do, those speakers speak as much to me as they do those kids, and you as they do those kids. So this family opportunity you're talking about is a special one. And as you indicated, we have a family package online. So that's very appealing. And then I also like to mention we're doing an adult conference. And that's actually going to be like a festival of praise, a night of worship. We're calling it Night of Hope. And the lineup for that, get ready for this lineup, right? Father Dave Pavonka, who is our president at the university and an incredibly well-known author and speaker. But Sister Miriam is going to be there and host the event. Scott Hahn is going to speak at the event. And then Bob Rice, Crazy Bob. Bob Rice is going to lead worship with his band. And that, again, is going to be a live event. It's going to be at Christ the King Chapel on our campus in Steubenville. The youth conference is being live streamed Friday night and Saturday, July 17th and 18th. And the Night of Hope conference, Night of Hope, Night of Worship, is being live streamed Sunday night, July 19th. So back to back.
Yeah. And in the link below, you will definitely see the link there to register for both of those events. But whether you want to sign up for the youth conference and attend that, or for the Night of Hope, both going to be just amazing events. And you could do them all because they're not running at the same time. You could do them. So
We
that's great.
should mention that there is a charge for the youth conference. It's $40 a participant. We're packaging in with that for your listeners or viewers that know Chris Stefanik, this program that he's done called I Am. It has a retail value of $47. The entire package, including the I Am program and the conference, is $40. It's an incredible value. So we hope to attract as many people as possible to that youth conference. But the adult conference is free of charge. So we have something. I saw the list the other day. Literally, people from 20 countries have already registered for our adult conference. So please look at both of them and feel free to sign up for both.
That's fantastic. And for those of you who are, we're signed up through Partnership for Youth to attend the summer conferences, the Steubenville conferences, you know that that is something you're getting free. And so if you haven't heard from our office about that, make sure to reach out to myself or one of my staff members, and we'll make sure you get that information. So Mark, what else is Franciscan University offering that youth ministers could take advantage of to grow their faith, to grow their leadership, if they're searching for something like that, coming up in the fall?
I mean, from a youth ministry standpoint, we are initiating a new program, a new initiative. We have on our website right now the Upper Room, and we're really going to build that out and expand that and help youth ministers, and to be honest with you, catechists and directors of religious education and parents and just a whole cadre of individuals on this faith journey really grow in faith. So that's one aspect of what we're doing at the university. More broadly speaking, Father Dave Pivonka, now our president, was elected in May of 2019. What a year he's had, right? With COVID and everything.
I know.
Yeah. So, Father Dave reminds us all the time that as surprised and shocked as we are by what's going on in the world, that God isn't surprised at all, right? And he has put us in this place at this time to do big things. So he's a great reminder to all of us for that on a regular basis. But Father Dave's vision really is that the university impact the church in a much more dramatic way than it has historically. And as you know, it's had a pretty big impact to date. I mean, in terms of the number of priests that are graduates, religious sisters, catechists, DREs, people that work for the church formally, people who have started apostolates. The university's reach is just very broad, but we want to significantly grow that. And as a result, my office, which is the Office of Outreach and Evangelization, we brought 5 different groups together, is developing, actually we're close to completing our development of a delivery model and a consultancy model, where in short, we're really taking what we've done successfully by the grace of God on our campus in Steubenville, Ohio, that started by Father Michael Scanlon 45 years ago, taking all of that as a package geared towards the parish within these dioceses, out into the parishes to serve parishioners within dioceses across North America. So we've gotten 3 yeses from 3 different bishops to prototype things. We're looking to launch what will become the Center for Evangelization. We're not sure of the final name yet, but it's probably going to be something like that, the Center for Evangelization or the Center for Renewal or something like that. It'll be launched in June or July of 2021, which will coincide with our 75th anniversary. So we're very excited about what we're doing on that front, and feel a call. Not only are we troubled in the world today with COVID and the race issues that exist, but our church certainly hasn't skated by without its own problems, without its own issues. And as we started this call, for me, understanding and internalizing the unconditional love of Christ was absolutely transformational. And as you know, Amy, with our conferences, we always lead with the love of Christ, and that's what we plan on doing when we go out into these parishes within these dioceses, leading with the love of Christ.
Mark, I think it's just, as I talk to more leaders, obviously in the last 3 months, leaders, mentors, business colleagues, to seeing how the Lord has set people up for this time, even though we didn't know it was coming. But I know that you've been working on this, the Center for Evangelization and Outreach, a long time, several months or even over a year. I know that you've been talking about it. And, this, God might have been preparing it for this time, right? And we didn't know that this great opportunity is going to come before us. And I think as we come out of this pandemic, we come out of the shutdowns and the stay-at-home orders, I think people are going to be thirsting and hungry for community. And some are going to return to faith, right? Some are going to return to faith. Some of us have grown, I think, deeper and stronger in our faith. Trust, which, I tell my husband all the time, that's a virtue I'm going to go to the grave with trying to work on.
Right.
But I think that that the Lord has been preparing us, kind of like you've said about Father Dave, who I just love. Father Dave, he was head of the Christian Outreach Office when I took my position almost 19 years ago, and he's just a heart of service, just a deeply spiritual man, and also just so much joy. And for him to say, like, this, God prepared us for this time, and I'm sure, like, myself, you've probably had some doubts in your own leadership over the last 3 months. What have I guess maybe you've learned during this time of pandemic as a leader? And what are some, I think, practicals you might be able to share with us for anyone sitting in a leadership position? And frankly, anyone who, in any position can be a leader, even if you don't have people, reporting to you underneath you. So yeah, just, I think, chat a little bit about, what you've been going through during this pandemic as a leader, and then, what are some tips you can give us to move forward and encourage?
Do we have an hour or so, or?
We don't, but I can have you back on so we can
Right. As you indicated, I came to the university after having a stint in the business world, and I bought my own company at the age of 27. It was me and a part-time secretary, so I really bought a job. And then I came to the university when I was 49. So 22 years of running my own show, and I've been a student and practitioner of leadership over a long period of time. And my staff gets tired of hearing me say it, right? I always say all the time, leadership. It's all about leadership, and people want to follow, and I want to follow at times, right? I'm not always looking to be in a lead position, but what gravitates people to a strong leader, and my view of that pre-conversion, right, when it was all about me and how the employees that I had were there to serve me. Right. In my view of that post conversion, where I really look at and understand servant leadership and the fact that I need to love and invest in my people every single day. Those two views are diametrically opposed. So, people, I love the expression, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. Right. They just don't. No. And you have to care. You have to invest. And every single one of the people, I know 32 people that are in the organization, that organization is newly formed over the last several months. 12 of those have been with me for the last several years, and I think we possibly, hopefully, Amy can say this for our partnership community, the regional conference partners we have around the country, how much I care, and invest in them and in the relationship in our ministry. And just loving people, right? I come from a place of previously having an incredible ego. I know you probably find that hard to believe. And ego is an acronym for edge God out, right? But when you have ego, you always have to be right. You always have to win, right? You always have to, get your way, all of those things. And when you put yourself aside, when you come to this place in humility, you can really genuinely listen to others, understand others. It doesn't mean you're always going to agree with them. I can tell you, my team knows where I stand on most things, although I will tell you that I pride myself in very, very infrequently ever making a decision, because it's not about me. It's about developing them to be the very best they can be. Right. So I would say the first characteristic is just love. You got to love them, invest in them, invest in them. I'd say the second thing is having a strong vision, right? Knowing where you're going as an individual, hopefully rooted in Christ, and knowing where the organization needs to go and sharing that vision on a regular basis. I'm
Mhm.
reading a book right now it's called The Innovation of Steve Jobs. And it's just amazing in reading through that and how he concentrated so relentlessly on vision.
Yeah.
And we can see that today. Steve Jobs died several years ago, and we can see his legacy in Apple today and how that vision just permeates through everything that they do, right?
Mhm.
So it's vision, vision, vision. And then I think the last primary component is courage, right? People want to know that that they can trust you, that they can stand behind you. They want to see confidence in you, right? And that doesn't mean that you're never scared, that you're never concerned, but you have the vulnerability to share that with other people. So I think it's love, vision, courage. There's probably three or four others, but those are the biggies for me.
Yeah. I think that's very true, Mark. I mean, I've been in leadership roles all of my career as well, and I think those three keys, and then could be others could be added to it as well, but I think those are the three biggies. What would you say about any of them being tested during this time of COVID and the pandemic, and having to adapt to that in leadership, even like leadership remotely, like I think that can present its own challenges that we overcome, but also some opportunities as well.
It's interesting, and the blessing that COVID has been to me is the fact that I feel like, none of us on this faith journey ever have prayer figured out, right? Like we're always struggling with prayer. But I really figured out that I've made a major leap forward in my prayer life. Like the quiet time I'm spending with the Lord every single morning, religiously, no pun intended, is
Mm-hmm.
has really been the gift of COVID to me. And that prayer time, which brings you to a place of humility, right? Understanding who you are in Christ, has been critical to me. And I think in advance of COVID, but even strengthened by this experience, I literally, and I'm not lying to you, have had zero fear. None. I mean, I like from the second this happened, everybody's scared to death. And I'm like, God's got this. He's way bigger than us. And by the way, if I go away tomorrow, I'm okay. I mean, I have zero fear.
Yeah.
And my wife, who's a nurse and works in research, scared to death.
Yeah.
So, but you see it in people's eyes, right? So I think that the lesson I learned, or the thing that I've had to deal with in during COVID, is really understanding it in other people and being compassionate,
Mm.
right? And again, Father Dave has been a great example and a great leader for the university in that regard. But understanding people's fears and their feelings and their frets and all of those things, and being compassionate and working with them. I'll tell you one thing we did as a conference office. You mentioned the virtual thing. I haven't, I think since March 16th, I've been to my office 3 times. I've been working remotely since, and I'll be going in tomorrow. I've started to go in a little bit more, but literally the first day that we started working from home, our entire office meets every morning at 8:30 a.m. virtually on a video conference for prayer, for morning
Mm-hmm.
prayer. And historically, forever, I mean, we're a Catholic university, we're an authentically Catholic university. We pray before every single meeting, right? You and I prayed before we got on here today. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and as a part of that, as part of our DNA in the office, on Mondays we do team prayer from 11 a.m. to noon, and then we go to noon mass.
Mm.
We started doing this daily prayer every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We do the Rosary, and every Tuesday and Thursday we do the Divine Mercy Chaplet. And we've had discussions since that once we get back to the office, this needs to stay a consistent part of our routine,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it strengthens us. It brings us together. There's typically a little banter beforehand, a little banter afterwards, right? I throw in the occasional motivational talk, but it's just it's strength. Prayer does something for you, it gives you confidence. It brings you to this place of the cross, and it understands that God's got this, right? That there are things way bigger than this that He's handled previously. So.
So true, so true. My office and I too would doing the Chaplet of Mercy every morning. It gave us an opportunity too to, like, if someone had a particular prayer or, you know, challenge, even in their personal life, you know, bringing that up. And I think that can help us to love on and invest in those people, knowing a little bit what's going on outside of the office as well. And then just for my family, my side of the family, we've started in March too. We started saying the rosary at 7 p.m. every night. And just, you know, opening up a conference call line, and whoever can join, nieces and nephews and, you know, siblings. And it's just been a great way to connect and to be prayerful with each other. And I think your points of leadership, you know, loving, investing, vision, courage, and your prayer time, which I think is so important, whether you're a youth minister, whether you're a parent, whether you know, are a leader in an organization or at another ministry. I think that prayer time, and I would say for me too, the prayer time during COVID has been so fruitful and so blessed. And I don't rush. And I think part of that is, you know, not having to get in the car and, you know, drive little Eddie to daycare and to, you know, hassle the office, right? We adjusted differently. And I really hope that, you know, these good habits and practices that I think many of us hopefully have been experiencing during this pandemic, that we will take them back into what will be our kind of the new normal, or the new way we do business, the new way we do work. And to not underestimate the power of prayer. Wasn't it Bishop Sheen who said, you know, like if he had a lot of work to do, instead of 1 hour of adoration every day, he would do 2. Right. And I have to remind myself of that. I'm like, I know if I spend time with the Lord, He will multiply my efforts and it will all get done, you know, and that trust factor, again, I think is so important. In wrapping up today, Mark, one, I just want to invite, you know, anyone who's listening to check out the Steubenville Live virtual live conference. The dates of that, again, are July 17th and 18th. And you can register for that. We'll have that link in the comments. And then the Night of Hope as well. You'll see the registration for that. Mark, that's on, I believe, your website, that we can drive them to Franciscan University's website to register for that and get the link. And then just a joy to work with you. I enjoy working with you. I enjoy that you're always seeking new ways to do business, and that it is really about growing the kingdom for the Lord. You know, and that's the work we're about. And people, one, will attack us because of that. And I think to just recognize times that we do struggle, that just the evil one, and that the Lord is there to defend us and protect us and show us, you know, where we need to courageously step forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I like to say that, you know, for those of us who have made the decision or have had the conversion, we would never go back to a life without Jesus Christ. And it's that love of Christ that we're called to share. And those of us that know that love of Christ, you and me included, are absolutely convicted to share it. Right. So that's what it's all about. And you know, we receive great joy in doing that. So there's a big benefit to it too. So, and you get to meet and work with the best people in the world, yourself included, our ministry team members, all of our partners. If I were to ever leave the university, and I think they're going to have to kick me out given what we're doing with the Office of Outreach and Evangelization now, the most difficult part would be leaving the people I get to work with, because just incredible folks.
I ditto that. That is so true. So true. I've met some of the most wonderful people doing ministry, and my husband included. So, you know, it's been very fruitful for me.
That's a good thing.
Right. So another reason to engage in ministry and come to the Steubenville Youth Conferences and adult conferences that are offered. So, Mark, just thank you for your time today. As always, just a delight to chat with you about a variety of topics today. And we'll have you back on probably after the live conference, because I know you're busy under the gun getting ready for that, and to roll out something pretty amazing for our constituents there. So thank you so much, and God bless. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Thanks. God bless.